Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thanks for coming. My name is Chitrang, and I work at Medtronic. I've been with Medtronic for a number of years now, about 15 years. And through my work and my experience at Medtronic, I've been had the opportunity to get involved in a number of initiatives, a number of really innovative initiatives. So I'm going to share. We've heard a lot today, yesterday, around on the healthcare track here, from hospitals, from the insurers, from a lot of different perspectives. I'm going to be talking about a life sciences perspective. I'm going to talk about how we approach this and some of the really innovative use cases in this space. So that's me. But so I'm going to talk about 4 use cases here. Before I get there, just a level set on really the healthcare ecosystem. In one word, it is complex, as I'm sure is not news to anybody in this room. There are a number of stakeholders. They all have competing priorities. At the end of the day, we are trying to improve patient lives. So I've mentioned a few of the use cases amongst the manufacturers, folks that are like me, folks in pharma, folks in biotech, that have used and applied AI, and I'm going to talk about one of those from examples from Medtronic that's public. That's a public therapy right now. I'm going to talk about, and there are some opportunities within providers on the hospital. I'm going to talk about the asset management piece here, as well as payers and patients. So what do patients care about, right? At the end of the day, it's about quality of life and about improving their management of their disease. So let's start, before we start with the use cases, let's touch on the why. And really, what is the value? We heard from this morning from Jeff in the keynotes from the math company. He talked about the potential market size for AI in the billions. The impact for AI is going to be even more, the value that you can generate from that if done right. And this is growing in the double digits at the 38-40% growth rate for the at least next 10 years or so. So that's really the why. And I tend to look at this and frame this when I'm approaching initiatives in the data, AI, ML space in one of these 3 lenses. They're interconnected, but is it reducing costs, increasing opportunities for revenue, or really truly innovative business cases, use cases, or products that can be built around data and AI. And these can be applied, they're very interconnected. It could be applied for more than one. So with that, let's spend the rest of the time on the use cases. The first one is near and dear to me. It comes from Medtronic. The idea is really on colorectal screenings. And the challenge is that this is a form of cancer, a colon cancer is a form of cancer that is highly preventable if identified early. So in most cases, about 90% of cases can be prevented early as long as you can catch it, or as long as you catch it early. So what happens when you have a pandemic and all the health system focuses on just COVID-19? Screenings drop. If you don't get screened, you don't get identified for a potential colon cancer screening. So this is where one of our therapies comes in, and we have used data from our own devices, from colonoscopies, endoscopies, that are video images that are being processed and being stored at Medtronic. So we've analyzed all this data, come up with an algorithm to identify potential polyps or tumorous activities within those images, within those video images. And we have embedded this within the diagnosis, within the lab itself. So here's an example, and this is based on our data source is from the millions of images that we have as of today. We started off on this with 1.5 million images. Today, it's at about 13 million images in the last 4 years. So, and the model's improving and as time goes by. So really the key is early diagnosis, finding the care, and delivering the care when it's needed. and happy to talk about this in more detail. The next example is asset management. I think I'd met somebody from GE, I think, yesterday, but this example is on this specific solution that GE has called Encompass. Now, the idea is hospitals have, I think the gentleman from NYU, Langwon, was also touching on this. There's lots of expensive, really expensive equipment that's out in the hospitals all over the place. Some of it's mobile, some of it's sitting in the lab, the big O-arms or whatever. But how can we make sure that we are using those and utilizing them most efficiently? Are we, as manufacturers, are we being able to do preventive maintenance in time? Can we get to the equipment and service it before it goes down for a week or 2 weeks? So identify, we use data from tags. GE, in this case, partnered with Zebra to actually create the smart tags. If you're familiar with Apple AirTags, similar concept. You stick a tag on it and it can stream data back. But what could be really even more cool is if the equipment could talk to each other and talk back directly to the manufacturers. And we are getting there. There are challenges to that. There are network challenges. There are regulatory challenges. But we are getting through. We are getting there. So ultimately the benefit is more efficiently managing equipment, more efficiently delivering care where it's needed, and reducing downtime. My next example is with a really innovative organization called Ignite. This is focused on specifically on valve disease. So here's an area, heart valve disease, that again, it's a difficult disease to diagnose. You need echocardiograms. So this organization, spin-off out of a larger med tech company called Edwards, started with a program called CardioCare. And the idea with CardioCare was simply to allow hospital systems to better manage the progression of disease, to identify and track their population that they serve with, and their echocardiograms that they have at their hospitals. So as a result of this program, they're collecting all these echocardiograms, and they have now been able to analyze these echocardiograms over time to not only track progression of the disease within patients, but also proactively monitor patients automatically using AI to then proactively reach out to them and say, you might be getting at more risk. So getting to intervention proactively as opposed to waiting for a severe event to happen. So again, from a patient perspective, it's a win-win. I have a picture right on the right-hand side there about what a typical patient journey may look like. And one of the other challenges we have with managing patient populations is there's a lot of wait times. There's a lot of people falling off at various points, and knowing that they may be at risk, to getting the screening, to then getting the schedule for the surgery. There's a lot of churn in this, a lot of wait times, and a lot of people who drop off of that whole system. So really useful to be proactive about this. And the example that I use is, if you, there are, like my dentist's office, for example, now proactively sends me a text message when I have the next appointment that is coming up due. And so this is the kind of stuff to try to get ahead of that. So in this case, the differentiator was using the echocardiograms that the CardioCare program actually enabled them to collect. Next is a really innovative organization called Better Therapeutics. They're a public company. You can look them up. And they've taken a really unique approach. So if you think about how people use applications or phones today, right? If if the Googles and the Instagrams of the world can figure out how to make you addicted to their apps, this organization is trying to use apps to actually change behavior to encourage folks with chronic conditions to live and change their behaviors to live more healthier lives. So, and the unique approach that they have taken is they're extremely scientifically, they are approaching this very scientifically. They are taking this as a clinical study. They've actually published results for this clinical study now at 6 months out from folks who are using this, and they've focused on diabetes first and foremost. It's folks who have or know folks who have diabetes, a chronic condition, and while there is insulin therapy and manageable, it's a constant. So here's an example where you can really use the power of data, power of mobile, power of AI to improve and change behaviors and improve outcomes. And they've been able to show that folks who are using the digital, what they're calling digital prescriptions of their apps, are able to get better control of their disease. They're able to have more time within range. It's a big deal for diabetics, people dealing with diabetes, and they're able to manage all of this proactively, much more effectively, with less dependency on medication, and they, and they're able to have better control over their disease. So again, my key takeaways on this is if we can use applications, if we can use AI to help manage chronic disease like diabetes, this is a win-win. So that's my talk. I will summarize the few things that I've mentioned on this, and we'll take a few questions if there are any. First and foremost, where is success? Focus on the value, but where do we get success with AI and with these initiatives? Really truly understand the patient needs and the provider's needs. Dr. Liz Kuo was on the stage yesterday she's from Everly Health, another health startup, and she touched on this. She touched on her own experience, but she really, touched on like having been a practicing physician. She talked about her experience with pregnancy, but just knowing and understanding the pain points and understanding where the opportunities are goes a long way. And as some of us here are practitioners in the data space, we are providing kind of an outside-in perspective, but having that experience and having that lived experience really goes a long way. So understand, deeply understand the needs of your patients and providers. Second is identify opportunities. There are opportunities to reduce friction within the ecosystem to make sure patients can flow through and get the care they need and have those improved outcomes at the end of the day. Focus on the problems the physicians are having, whether they are the inordinate amount of time they have to spend doing administrative tasks. We talked about prior authorizations in a few different sessions. Just how, help them manage some of that with AI. So, again, where can we as practitioners in this field bring our skills to help some of those problems? And then improve the overall patient experience. So, what do patients care about? They want to get on with, they want to spend less time dealing, if I have diabetes, dealing with it or dealing with the disease they have, and more time getting on with their life and spending time with their family and friends. So focus on improving that overall experience. And finally, build from your strength. So I can say this from personal experience as well as the example I mentioned, the few examples that I mentioned. Medtronic has a strength in getting those images and processing those images and knowing, and that the clinical expertise to know how to identify and diagnose those cancerous polyps. So build from your strengths. In the case of Ignite, it's about knowing the valve disease space and knowing the how to analyze echocardiograms. And again, not replacing doctors, but really making them more efficient in that process. So build from your strengths. And again, going back to personally, like I've spent my career in the health space. I'm a technologist by training, and I've kind of taken this to heart as well. I'm looking around, and I'm looking at where can I bring my strengths in technology and in healthcare to help solve some of this. So that is my talk. Any questions and maybe any comments? No, it's not a product. It's not a product. It's not a Medtronic product, no. But I know those folks well. I've talked to them.
Yeah, maybe I'll talk to you after.
Sure. Absolutely. Any other comments? Yeah.
How, from a Medtronic perspective, how is the FDA looking at AI? Really, how are you planning to
Yes, great question. The question was on the FDA and really the role of regulation in AI. They're catching up. We're catching up. The FDA actually just recently in the last year actually formally released guidelines on how to go about and how to treat digital products and AI as we do with devices, for example. So yeah, it's evolving for sure. And I think it's exciting times. I'm glad that we have the right people there. Definitely needs, the needs are different. For example, the model I talked about with the GI Genius, it's going to evolve. The more data it sees, right? We all know this. It's going to improve over time. So how can you make sure that there's trust in that data? But absolutely great question. And that's again, that regulatory piece is different, in the medtech, pharma, biotech space. I think is an interesting challenge, which some of the other folks in the healthcare ecosystem don't necessarily have to worry about. I think those are, yeah.
You mentioned about the colonoscopy.
Yes. Great question. Yeah. So the GI Genius, the colonoscopy, this is happening in real time. We have a product that actually plugs into. It works with our equipment. It works with Philips equipment as well. So it just basically you just need to send in the video feeds, and it works in real time, and it's analyzing that data in real time. Absolutely. Great question. All right. Any other questions? If not, we'll stop here. Thank you so much.